Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. OBS. Boy, this looks a lot cleaner than Restream. Hey everyone. Looks a little bare bones. This is actually some testing. I am going to get into some study material just to see how it looks on the screen and how the transitions work. But if you're just perusing the internet or you see me live, welcome. My name is Jesse J, aka the Cosmic Cowboy, and I am preparing to lead a study certification initiative to help folks trying to break into the cybersecurity industry to pass their cybersecurity examinations efficiently the first time and then for free. I don't get paid for this. Maybe if something comes of it for sponsorships, I would be happy to, or to take the education to the next level. But really, this is my way to give back to the community. At the same time, help me be a better speaker, a better teacher, a better communicator, and also be the CEO of myself, right? There's a lot of things that you have to do on your own in information security and in cybersecurity to future-proof yourself, right? And being your own CEO. So I've got some certifications I want to get. I'm going to bang out CISA Plus along with Ricky Lee, aka Tech Ricky, and whoever else is going to join us. And the way we're going to do that is through practice questions, live review, using official CompTIA training material. There's a disclaimer in the description if you want to read that. And I think with that, Code Brew Cybers in chat says stream looks good. Yeah, OBS takes like 2 years off me. It's awesome. I'll take it. Got to work on the shakiness a little bit. That's okay. How is audio? Is it crisp? Because I'm a little farther back from my keyboard. This way I can not be so locked in. Audio is crisp. I was giving it a listen. Let me know if you can hear kids in the background. I don't know if there's any kind of background interference. Anyways, there might be more than a couple of you watching. This is a test stream, but let's get into some study content real quick. And let's see how this brand new, I just picked this up. Boom. See what the delay looks like too. That was 10. Yeah, there's about a 20. Okay, reflection. Okay, notes. Taking notes for myself. Audio is crisp. Thank you, Code Brew Cyber. Rocking and rolling. All right, this is a brand new Cert Master practice. If you go back and watch my older videos, I go through the Cert Master for Security Plus. We did a bunch of live streams going through that. Now that I'm going to do the CISA Plus exam, I thought, why not take it to that next level? And so this is the CISA Plus practice environment. This is significantly cleaner, and it's only $200. And so for all this practice, so we're gonna analyze it. We'll get some commentary. We're also gonna use it as a way to study. One of the other things that we're gonna use, and let me go back to this one here. One of the other things that we're gonna use is Pocket Prep, because I believe that one of the most efficient ways to study is through multiple resources. And of course, if you can only afford one or two resources, choose the ones that work for you. But we're also going to use Pocket Prep, which I think is an outstanding study tool. All right, why don't we do this question of the day? What section of an incident response report provides details on which specific systems and services were affected by an incident? A, impact assessment, B, evidence, C, timeline, and D, scope. If this is your first time watching or you're watching this on Team Replay, we will be doing these live streams twice a week, for sure on Friday. And then we're looking at another day midweek to do streams. So we'll be doing these twice a week. And then you put your answers in chat. Put what the best answer you think is in chat if you're watching this live. If you're not, well, guess or write down what you think the best answer is and compare. Now remember, when we answer questions, and we'll go through this when we do our official launch on Friday, we want to really read through the question. Find out what it's asking. Is there a keyword in there? Is there something that triggers a component of the areas that you've studied, right? So trying to narrow down to the most likely answer. What section of an incident response report provides details on which specific systems and services were affected by an incident? I would think maybe impact, right? Affected, impacted. Let's go with impact assessment. Check answer. Scope. Correct answer, scope. There are several incident response report components of CISA Plus candidates should be familiar with. The components and their purposes will be summarized in the table below. So an executive summary, short description that explains the incident, impact, and current state at a high level. The 5 W's, right? The who, what, why, where, how. The recommendations, timeline, and then scope is everything that was impacted or everything that was affected. That makes sense to me. Cool. I'll flag that one for later so that we know that we have that one to do for later. All right, what I like about the Cert Master, and when we do this official launch on Friday, we were going to go through it in order. So we're going to start with security operations, and actually we'll probably start with a practice assessment on Friday and kind of get an idea of where we're at. But let's test and check out this new version of CompTIA Learn or CompTIA Practice. Continue. I started it, but then didn't start anything. Please close window and reconnect to your learning application. What? Oh, that's dumb. Okay, so good to know that if I ramble too much, CompTIA logs you out. That's really annoying. Bear with me, guys. Sorry about that, folks. And that's why you do this now. I'm doing it live because I think if anybody else is interested in doing something similar, such as starting a live stream to help others study, doing volunteer work, whatever, that you could do it too, that it's okay to make mistakes and for things not to work 100% the first time, to not have the latest and the greatest equipment, and to be willing to build up into something if you're interested. I think mistakes are okay. All right, here we go. Re-logged in. It's relatively painless. Probably should keep the CompTIA open. I realized I'm a person who and I think what it does is it actually asks you a few baseline questions first. I think these are baseline questions. I'm not sure. Which of the following logging levels is the highest and most verbose level of logging in Windows Event Viewer? You can select debug A, B information, C warning, D error, or do we not know yet? Again, so we look at the question. Which of the following logging levels is the highest and most verbose, meaning going to give you the most words, verbs, words, verbose. The most amount of detail level of logging in Windows Event Viewer. Well, if we think about it from just even like an analyst perspective, oh, cool. Click on it once if you are unsure. Click twice if you are sure. Cool. So I'm unsure on information. I'm pretty sure it's a debug, because if we think of an informational warning, right, that's going to be high level, just a little bit of information. That's not super deep. A warning could be some information similar to an error, but a debug rule is going to get into the nitty and gritty. What's going on in those processes? Congratulations, you just completed your first question. All right. What do serverless, cloud, hybrid, and on-premises environments all use in security operations? Select the best 3 options. And this brings me to a pause and a teaching moment. This is a great opportunity to commit this to memory, is that CompTIA does partial credit. And so make sure you answer every single question the best of your abilities, because this one has select 3 best options. Maybe you get 2 of the 3 or 1 of the 3. You'll get partial credit for those answers. So it's really important whenever you see select best of 3, or you might see a question that says what is the most or the best. Those are usually partial credit questions. What do serverless, cloud, hybrid, and on-premises all use in security operations? Well, they should use security frameworks, I would think. They should use access control mechanisms, and they should use incident response procedures. When you see a question like this, notice that only one of these, this is an outcome, right? This is something that we're using ongoing, and this is an outcome. So that you hope that by using access control mechanisms, incident response procedures, and security frameworks, that you will have the outcome will be in a reduced attack surface. So those are the three that make sense to me. I was sure and I was correct. Excellent. And this looks significantly closer to what I remember the CompTIA exam environment looking like. Let me know in chat if you have a different opinion. What are the advantages of implementing single sign-on technology for an organization's authentication process? Select the two best options. A, enabling passwordless authentication through the use of smart cards or mobile devices. B, improving user experience by reducing the need for multiple logins and passwords. C, eliminating the need for multi-factor authentication. Or D, providing an additional layer of security through the use of biometric authentication. So we know what they're asking us. What are the advantages of implementing single sign-on in an organization, right? So a good example of this might be Okta. You sign in one time with your Okta credentials, and from there it's like you got the VIP card. Now you can access everything inside the club. Right? You came in with that card. Yo, what's up? I'm Jesse J, the Cosmic Cowboy. Can I get into your fancy nightclub? The big pit boss or the bodyguard that stops people like me from coming in and goes, yep, here's your single sign-on. Go ahead. And inside our club, we've got your Qualys portal. We've got your 365 portal. We have all the different portals that would normally require a separate username and password, but because you're using Okta as your identity provider, it is managing the one password to log you into all of those different tools and resources through various measures, which we'll talk about. So enabling password authentication through the use of smart cards or mobile devices, improving user experience by reducing the need for multiple logins and passwords. That's true. Eliminating the need for multi-factor authentication, providing an additional layer of security through the use of biometric authentication. Well, single sign-on may use biometric authentication as part of that initial sign-on, but it doesn't do it in and of itself. Enabling password authentication through the use of smart cards or mobile devices does do that. Eliminates the need for multi-factor authentication. Well, and actually, you've already authenticated with Okta, so then when I go to get into, unless it's been X amount of time, you've got to re-sign in. Once you've signed in, I can go from my Okta dashboard into those without using additional credentials. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to go with I'm sure. I was sure and I was incorrect. I wish you could go back and review it. I think this is a baseline to see where you're at. Which of the following is a significant difference between containerization and virtualization in the context of security operations? A, containerization enables multiple operating systems to run on a single physical machine, while virtualization does not. B, virtualization provides faster resource allocation than containerization. C, containerization provides a higher level of isolation between the container and the host operating system compared to virtualization. And D, virtualization enables multiple operating systems to run on a single physical machine while containerization does not. I like containerization. Containerization provides a higher level of isolation between the container and the host operating system compared to virtualization. I'm not sure, but that's what my gut's going with. You're unsure and incorrect. Can I click I don't know yet? Okay. Okay, cool. So this is going to be awesome to use as we move forward. Audio is crisp. It looks like we'll be able to flow through this thing as we go. And we will use it along with the Cert Master Learn and Pocket Prep to navigate through the CISA Plus. Awesome, team. Well, thanks for hanging out while I did this very short and sweet test stream. I'm going to go back and listen to it, do some critiques on lighting. I want to provide the best experience with the budget and with the equipment that I have for anybody that shows up and wants to pass their certification exams. Until Friday and until the next time, we'll see you. Remember to check out the Daily Cyber Threat Brief presented by Simply Cyber every single weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm pulling it up right now. It's right here. You can't miss it because it is dope. What if we have audio?
6. This is episode 1120, so I believe it is. That is correct. Of Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Dr. Gerald Ozier.
Dr. Jerry Ozier and the Simply Cyber crew bring in the latest and the greatest in cyber threats, building community, building mentorship, building your career. So you make sure you check that out every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to sign off, do a little bit of work, refine the stream, refine our processes a little bit, and we will be back on Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with that time subject to change as we figure out what works best for everybody as far as schedules, when we can get the most. Of course, there'll be team replay, and then I'm also going to drop the longer videos, have them chopped up so you can just go and do the practice questions, get an idea of how CompTIA speaks, how it asks questions, some of the keywords, some of the terminology, the flow, the architecture of the questions. It's going to help you pass the test, and it's going to help you pass the test more efficiently than just trying to take a stab at it without any direction. All right, that's enough for me. I'm going to get going.